Hi, it's September 2022, and we're going to talk about prices. And I think this is one of the biggest topics that you hear in our business right now. There's a lot of chatter, there are a lot of articles, and a lot of people talking about home prices right now. My goal for the next few minutes is to sort of break this down in a way that explains exactly what's happening. And I'm going to do it in two parts. The first part, I'm going to talk about what we're seeing right now, and then I'm going to shift and say, okay, what do the experts see as we go forward? And that'll be my goal as we go throughout this video. So let's kind of hop in and let's talk about prices and let's see where we are right now. I'm going to use a couple of different graphs here. As we get started, the first one that I will share comes from the S&P Case-Shiller report. This is as of June, and before I get a lot of comments like this is, September and that is June's information, this is the most recently published year-over-year price appreciation information that is available nationally. And so this is what the normal consumer would hear and see. I want to kind of give you the two ways that prices are broken down. The first way is year-over-year pricing, and that is where our prices are right now this month as compared to the same month last year. In most markets across the country, we're still seeing strong year-over-year double-digit appreciation. So that's my first point. Normally, that's how prices or price appreciation is measured in this country. What's the second way it's done? We don't oftentimes talk about this, except in maybe a scenario like we find ourselves in now, is month-over-month pricing. This starts to look a bit different. In month-over-month prices, you'll see some red start to show up. But you see that the majority of markets are still positive, not nearly as positive of what we saw year-over-year, but some West Coast markets such as Portland, San Diego, San Francisco, you will see down slightly month over month. Now we're going to look at year-over-year prices versus month-over-month prices out of our MLS for the Mid-Atlantic region. And what we see is our year-over-year for August is up 5.3%, but our month-over-month for August is down 1.3%. So that's what's happening now in our markets. Typically, when you talk about price appreciation, you talk about how much money or how much value did your home gain over last year. You don't say over the last month, but certainly people are looking at that right now. This is going to be something key our research team is going to keep a close eye on. Price is always, as we quote Dave Ramsey, the root issue of what drives house prices is almost always supply and demand. So that's in any market and anything you're selling. What will drive prices? Of course, it's supply and demand. Here's probably the most important thing that I want to share right now about the topic of price. And it's this graphic that shows supply and demand have changed very, very quickly. The market over the last couple of years had solid demand. The kind of go through the roof that was happening during COVID, along with low interest rates, driving people saying, we need something different in our home. And oh, by the way, we can buy a home at 2.75% with a 30-year fixed rate, so we're going to go do it. And this drove a tremendous amount of demand. Well, what happened to supply? Supply fell as the number of homes on the market fell to an all-time low because of the frenzy in the market. Well, what's happening right now, we're seeing the exact inverse of that. We're seeing demand come down in the latest showing time report, down over 17% nationally year over year. And then we're seeing active listings grow by almost 27%. So what's the inflection point in real estate? It's this right here. It's sort of this dramatic shift in supply and demand change very, very quickly. So what's ahead for home prices? There have been a lot of articles. I'm going to talk about the Ivy Zelman article that's out there where she's calling for home price depreciation. But what's ahead for home prices? The first one we'll cover is what our experts say about this year. 11.3% is the average from the forecasters on home price appreciation this year. Now, the majority of that appreciation happened in the first half of this year, no doubt, but still positive appreciation for 2022 for home prices. We've talked extensively about what a decelerating market looks like, but home price forecasts 11.3% on the average from 7 forecasters for this year. So let's talk about next year. I mentioned the Ivy Zelman article where Ivy projects U.S. home prices will fall 4% in 2023 and then another 5% decline in 2024. And I want to kind of position this, and we respect Ivy and do follow her, but I'm going to show you how her forecast compares to everyone else here in just a minute. Whenever you have a forecast like this is what gets all the attention. I'm sure many people have seen this article. Fortune magazine sort of coined her poison ivy. And when somebody says something like this, they get a lot of attention. Well, let's compare this to what others are saying. This is a look at 6 forecasters right here: Fannie, Freddie, the Home Price Expectation Survey, MBA, and NAR, with Ivy Zelman being the only one that's had this sort of look at home prices going into next year depreciate. Now, she's the one that gets all the coverage on that, but if you look at the average of all 6 news forecasters, even including Ivy, they expect 2.5% appreciation. This is what we've been saying. We've been saying, you know what, there's going to be more normalized appreciation in homes across the country nationally. If we continue with this, the percent gain in home prices just came out from FHFA. This is a look back at the last 30 years and how much home prices appreciated across the country. The reason I brought this in right here is many people are wondering, should I buy a home right now? Well, if you bought a home 30 years ago with all the price appreciation, you would say, wow, look at me. What makes you believe it's going to be any different for the next 30 years? Last thing I'll mention here before I wrap up, the national LTV in the second quarter of 2022 was 29.5%. LTV means loan to value, or how much you owe on your home compared to what it's worth. The lowest since 1983. Homeowners had an average of $320,000 in inflation-adjusted equity in their homes in Q2 of 2022. So if you look at prices, you should really take all this data into the question of, is the market going to crash? We here at Active Adults Realty do not believe, with all of this supplied info and more that we did not even cover, that we are in for a market crash. If you want to discuss more on this topic or any others, please reach out and we would love to help you with your choices in this local real estate market. Now go live life, love one another, and if you want to be a local or moving out of the area, please call, text, or email. Thank you, and let me know what other topics you might have questions on by leaving a message down below.